They said no one wanted you, but I do. Ethan Harper whispered to himself as he stared at the worn, peeling walls of the old orphanage, the rain streaking down the narrow windows like tiny silver rivers. The wind howled through gaps in the building, carrying the scent of wet pavement and damp earth, and the dim light flickered from a single overhead bulb casting long shadows across the cracked linoleum floor. Outside, the storm was relentless, each drop hammering against the roof like a drum, punctuating the tension in the quiet hall. 6 small figures huddled in the corner, their eyes wide, a mix of fear and curiosity shimmering in the dim light, their clothes tattered, shoes scuffed, hair damp from the persistent drizzle seeping in through the broken window panes. Aaliyah, the eldest at 16, clutched the hem of her thin coat tightly, her knuckles white, while Brianna shifted nervously, glancing at Chloe, whose lips were pressed into a thin line of determination, despite the shaking of her small frame. Destiny and Mia whispered to each other in barely audible tones, Zoe sitting slightly apart, hugging her knees close to her chest, as if trying to disappear entirely. Ethan stepped closer, the leather of his jacket creaking softly as he moved, his boots leaving faint prints on the wet floor. He held in his hands a manila folder containing the adoption paperwork, the edges damp from the rain that had soaked him through the moment he stepped out of his car. His eyes scanned each child carefully, noting their reactions, their hesitations, their silent judgments of the stranger who had come to change the course of their lives. "You don't have to be afraid," he said, his voice calm but firm, carrying the weight of experience and the soft timbre of someone who had made difficult choices before. The children flinched at the sound, startled by the warmth behind the words. Ethan's gaze swept over the room again, landing on the cracked walls, the faded murals of sunflowers, the peeling paint, and the scattered belongings that told stories of neglect, of nights spent shivering, of meals half-eaten or missed entirely. Each girl bore the marks of her history, small scars, dirt smudges, a stray curl matted from lack of care, yet in their eyes lingered a spark, a hint of resilience that caught Ethan by surprise. He knelt down slowly, bringing himself to their eye level, and unfolded the folder, letting the papers rest gently against his knees. "I know the world told you weren't wanted, but I see you," he said, glancing from Aaliyah to Zoe, his voice steady, unwavering. Outside, the rain seemed to soften for a moment, a light breeze whispering through the broken panes, carrying the scent of wet leaves and fresh beginnings. Aaliyah stepped forward slightly, hesitant, her small boots making a soft thump against the floor, while Ethan extended a hand toward her, not demanding, not rushing, simply inviting. The other girls shifted, some inching forward, others watching carefully, their expressions a mix of doubt and longing. Ethan's heart tightened as he felt the weight of their skepticism, the unspoken question of whether this stranger could truly care for them when so many had failed before. The folder in his lap trembled slightly as he flipped the top page, the words printed clearly despite the damp. Adoption consent form, case number 47291, 6 children. He took a deep breath, the aroma of wet paper and rain filling his lungs, grounding him in the moment, and said softly, "If you choose to come with me, you will have a home, schooling, and a chance to be who you want to be. No one will ever turn you away again." The air seemed to shift in response, a subtle current of hope threading through the tension, the shadows on the walls dancing as the light flickered once more. Chloe blinked, uncertainty warring with desire, while Destiny stepped closer, whispering to Mia, who nodded subtly, the smallest gestures of courage forming among them. Zoe finally allowed herself to peek up, her eyes meeting Ethan's steady gaze, and for the first time, the corner of her mouth curved into the faintest hint of a smile. The storm outside continued, but inside that small room, a fragile sense of trust began to take root, a seed planted carefully, one decision, one invitation at a time, as Ethan Harper extended both hands toward the 6 girls who would, unknown to them, change his life as much as he would change theirs. The drive from the orphanage to Ethan Harper's home felt longer than the rain-soaked streets suggested, each puddle reflecting the gray sky above like tiny mirrors of uncertainty. The 6 girls, Aaliyah, Brianna, Chloe, Destiny, Mia, and Zoe, sat quietly in the back seat of the large SUV, their small hands gripping the edges of the worn seats, eyes wide and alert. Ethan's hands were steady on the wheel, his gaze occasionally flicking to the rearview mirror, observing the subtle interactions between the girls, the tentative glances, the whispers that barely broke the silence. The streets were slick with water, headlights bouncing off the wet asphalt, casting fleeting shadows across the faces of the children. Each streetlight they passed seemed to mark a new chapter, a departure from the life they had known, and for the first time, there was a tangible sense of possibility. Ethan had prepared a room in his modest suburban home, the walls freshly painted in soft pastel shades, a large window letting in the muted light of the stormy afternoon, a cozy carpet underfoot, and bunk beds carefully arranged to accommodate each of the girls. He parked the SUV in the driveway, the tires splashing through shallow puddles, and as he opened the doors, a soft gust of wind carried the scent of wet grass and rain into the cabin. One by one, the girls stepped out cautiously, their wet shoes squeaking against the concrete, coats clinging to their small frames, droplets falling onto the floor as Ethan ushered them inside. He guided them through the front door, and their eyes widened at the warmth of the living room, the faint scent of vanilla from a candle on the mantel, and the gentle hum of the radiator that filled the space with a steady, comforting noise. Ethan knelt down to meet Aaliyah's gaze, offering a reassuring smile. "This will be your home for now, and we will make it safe and warm together," he said, his voice calm, carrying the promise of stability and care. The girls exchanged nervous glances, the tension of the past hours slowly dissolving into curiosity and cautious hope. Chloe's fingers traced the edge of the carpet as she whispered to Mia about the softness underfoot, while Zoe inched toward a corner where a small table held books, some open, some closed, their pages waiting to be explored. Ethan led them to their new room, showing them each bed, a small lamp beside each, and a stack of neatly folded blankets. The girls' movements were tentative, brushing their hands against the sheets, running fingers over the covers, as if testing the reality of their new surroundings. He encouraged them to unpack a few personal items, to place their belongings where they felt most comfortable, giving them a sense of agency and control over this new space. As they arranged small trinkets and folded clothes, the rain continued its steady drum against the windows, a rhythmic accompaniment to the quiet transformation taking place inside. Ethan placed a small basket of snacks on the table, a simple gesture, yet one that spoke volumes to the children about nourishment and care, a signal that their presence was valued and their needs anticipated. The atmosphere in the room shifted, the girls gradually allowing themselves to relax, shoulders loosening, eyes softening, tentative smiles forming as the first real connection began to take shape. Ethan remained near the door, watching, attentive but unobtrusive, letting them adjust, understanding that trust is cultivated in patience, in consistency, in the subtle actions that affirm presence and concern. The storm outside mirrored the tumult of their recent past, yet within the walls of this modest home, a sanctuary was taking shape, built from quiet kindness, deliberate choices, and the promise of safety. Each girl found a small comfort, a corner, a blanket, a book, each piece a building block toward healing, toward the first glimmers of hope after years of uncertainty. Ethan's voice occasionally broke the silence with gentle instructions or simple conversation, grounding them in the moment, anchoring the new reality that was unfolding, a reality where they were seen, acknowledged, and protected, a reality where the weight of being unwanted could finally begin to lift. The rain continued its gentle patter, but inside, warmth spread, not just from the radiator or the soft lamps, but from the first spark of trust, from the unspoken understanding that they were no longer alone, and that the journey that began with a single, steady hand reaching out to them was only the start of a story that would unfold in safety, care, and the gradual restoration of their young, resilient hearts. The following morning, the soft golden light of dawn filtered through the sheer curtains, casting a warm glow over the room where the 6 girls had spent their first night in Ethan Harper's home. The storm from the previous evening had passed, leaving the air crisp, the pavement outside glistening under the early sun, and the faint scent of wet earth still lingering in the driveway. Aaliyah stirred first, blinking against the light, her hand brushing against the smooth surface of the bedside table as she sat up carefully, the realization of safety sinking in with each small movement. Brianna followed slowly, rubbing her eyes and stretching her small arms over her head, the faint smile forming as she felt the warmth of the blankets around her. Chloe and Destiny were already up, whispering softly to one another about what they could do first, their excitement tempered by the cautious optimism that had begun to replace the fear of uncertainty. Mia and Zoe lingered a moment longer, taking in the quiet, the gentle hum of the radiator, the way the room felt solid and secure for the first time in their lives. Ethan had already started in the kitchen, the aroma of warm cinnamon pancakes and freshly brewed coffee filling the air, a subtle invitation to the children that their needs and comforts were being anticipated. The clatter of plates and the soft pouring of milk signaled a normalcy they had not known for many years, a rhythm of daily life that whispered reassurance into their hearts. He called them down with a gentle, clear voice. Breakfast is ready. And one by one, they descended the staircase, their footsteps light on the polished wood, eyes wide with curiosity as they scanned the kitchen, noting the carefully laid table, the stack of plates, the small bowls of fruit, and the pitchers of juice. Aaliyah took the lead, guiding the others toward the chairs while Ethan watched, a soft smile tugging at his lips, a mixture of pride and quiet hope for the future unfolding before him. Conversation was minimal at first, tentative phrases exchanged as the girls adjusted to each other's presence in this new home, laughter emerging slowly, naturally, as the comfort of security began to sink in. Ethan moved among them, pouring orange juice, serving pancakes, offering words of encouragement, his voice steady and reassuring, creating a foundation of trust with every measured action. The sunlight shifted across the room, highlighting the individual features of each child, their expressions transforming as they began to believe in the permanence of their new home, in the presence of someone who cared unwaveringly for their well-being. Aaliyah, sensing the gentle authority and kindness in Ethan, began to open up first, sharing stories from the past, small confessions of loneliness, and moments that had made her wary of the world. Brianna followed, her shy voice adding to the tapestry of experiences, while Chloe and Destiny shared fleeting anecdotes of the friends and places they had left behind, each memory met with attentive, validating responses from Ethan, acknowledging their pasts without judgment, creating a space where healing could begin. Mia and Zoe listened intently, gradually offering small bits of themselves, building connections not only with Ethan, but with the sisters who had shared in similar experiences, forming the first bonds of family beyond mere proximity. Ethan's approach was deliberate, unhurried, allowing each child to engage at her own pace, providing stability, structure, and gentle guidance as they explored the house, their rooms, the backyard, and the modest living spaces that now symbolized security, warmth, and opportunity. Outside, the sunlight illuminated the backyard, casting reflections on the puddles that remained from the storm, a mirror of the past transformed into a canvas for new beginnings. The girls, feeling safe, began to explore, their laughter mingling with the morning air, a symphony of hope and resilience, a testament to the quiet power of consistent kindness and unwavering attention to their needs. Ethan observed them from the kitchen doorway, the sight of their tentative joy blossoming into genuine smiles reinforcing his resolve, the commitment to provide guidance, care, and an environment where they could grow, learn, and thrive without fear. Each moment was a building block, laying the foundation for years of growth, trust, and the eventual flourishing of these young lives, a process begun with patience, love, and a steady hand guiding them toward a future they could now imagine with confidence and hope. As the morning unfolded into a crisp, sunlit day, Ethan Harper gathered the 6 girls, Aaliyah, Brianna, Chloe, Destiny, Mia, and Zoe, into the small study lined with bookshelves filled with novels, encyclopedias, and educational materials that emitted the faint scent of polished wood and paper. The air carried a subtle warmth from the sunlight streaming through the large windows, illuminating the soft tones of the room and highlighting the careful arrangement of desks and chairs that Ethan had prepared for their first structured lesson. He sat at the head of the table, a gentle yet focused presence, explaining the plans for the day with a calm clarity that invited questions, encouraged curiosity, and instilled confidence. The girls listened intently, their eyes shifting from Ethan to the materials before them, fingers brushing over the smooth surfaces of pencils and notebooks, the tactile sensation grounding them in this new environment. Aaliyah leaned forward, her brow furrowed in concentration, while Brianna tapped the edge of her notebook thoughtfully, tracing lines of letters she had not yet mastered, her lips moving silently as she sounded out each word. Chloe and Destiny exchanged quiet smiles, the sense of shared experience fostering a tentative camaraderie, while Mia and Zoe observed quietly, absorbing both the information and the reassurance that their voices and contributions mattered in this space. Ethan moved among them, demonstrating exercises, reading aloud, and patiently repeating instructions, each motion deliberate, measured to reinforce understanding without pressure, creating a rhythm that was both soothing and engaging. The sunlight shifted slightly as the hours passed, casting gentle shadows that marked the progression of time, the sound of birds outside the window providing a natural accompaniment to the low hum of conversation and learning within the room. Ethan encouraged the girls to share their own stories and ideas, prompting them to describe past experiences, to express feelings in words, and to recognize that their thoughts were valuable. Each statement met with attentive nods, affirmations, and subtle gestures of encouragement. Aaliyah carefully presented her first written paragraph, her voice steady, reflecting the pride and tentative confidence that had begun to emerge. Brianna followed, her sentences weaving together a small story about her morning. Each word carefully chosen, each pause deliberate as she adjusted to the presence of listeners who respected her. Chloe and Destiny read passages aloud, their voices gaining strength as they realized their proficiency was acknowledged and celebrated, while Mia and Zoe engaged in drawing exercises that allowed them to express emotion and imagination visually, the color of their pencils reflecting moods, ideas, and newfound self-assurance. Ethan observed these developments with quiet satisfaction, noting the subtle changes in posture, the relaxation of tense shoulders, the slight smiles and glances of acknowledgement between the girls, and the increasing fluidity with which they moved through tasks. As the morning progressed, they transitioned to collaborative exercises, working in pairs and small groups, negotiating ideas, sharing insights, and discovering the power of teamwork, each interaction fostering both social growth and cognitive development. The room buzzed softly with the energy of minds and hearts opening, a blend of concentration, quiet laughter, and whispered encouragement, creating an atmosphere of possibility, trust, and shared purpose. Ethan paused occasionally to provide feedback, affirm accomplishments, and redirect focus when needed, his approach steady, compassionate, and deliberate, establishing routines and expectations that offered structure, while respecting individuality. By mid-morning, the 6 girls were fully engaged, navigating the tasks with a sense of confidence that had not existed before, the foundation of curiosity, trust, and gentle guidance allowing them to explore their abilities, share their insights, and build the skills necessary to thrive. Each moment reinforced the understanding that learning was not just about knowledge, but about connection, encouragement, and the recognition of potential, a lesson Ethan Harper embodied through every word, action, and gaze, guiding the girls not merely through material instruction, but through the cultivation of resilience, confidence, and hope. By mid-afternoon, the house had settled into a steady rhythm, the sunlight streaming through the tall windows creating golden patches across the polished wood floors. Ethan Harper moved quietly through the rooms, checking in on Aaliyah, Brianna, Chloe, Destiny, Mia, and Zoe as they engaged in their afternoon activities, each child absorbed in reading, drawing, or practicing their handwriting at the small desks arranged with careful attention to space and comfort. The walls, once bare, were now adorned with their artwork, colorful sketches of imagined landscapes and stories, each one a reflection of imagination and resilience, evidence of the children beginning to reclaim the joy and creativity that had been subdued by years of uncertainty. Aaliyah paused in her writing to glance at the others, the subtle confidence in her posture a contrast to the tentative demeanor she had displayed earlier in the morning. Brianna carefully lined up her pencils by color, a small ritual of order and control that brought her comfort, while Chloe shared a story aloud, her voice soft yet growing steadier with each sentence, capturing the attention of Destiny and Mia, who listened intently and nodded in appreciation. Zoe, sitting on the window seat, looked out at the yard where the sun illuminated the rain-soaked grass, her thoughts drifting between the past and the new possibilities that lay ahead, a faint smile forming as she recognized the stability and warmth surrounding her. Ethan watched from the doorway, noting the subtle gestures, the interactions, the emerging bonds, and he felt a quiet satisfaction tempered with awareness of the fragility of trust and the importance of consistency. Aaliyah raised her hand hesitantly, then spoke, sharing a memory from the orphanage, the words measured and careful, seeking affirmation, and Ethan leaned in, listening attentively, responding with encouragement and gentle acknowledgement, creating a dialogue that reinforced safety and openness. The other girls followed suit, one by one revealing small pieces of themselves, their fears, their hopes, the fragments of their previous lives that shaped them but no longer defined them entirely. And in each revelation, the room became richer with understanding, empathy, and connection. Ethan guided them through a series of collaborative exercises designed to build cooperation, problem-solving, and mutual respect, each task carefully structured to be engaging yet supportive, fostering a sense of accomplishment and belonging. The air was filled with the soft murmur of collaboration, punctuated by moments of laughter as the girls celebrated small successes, their eyes bright with the excitement of achievement, the sound blending with the occasional creak of the floorboards and the distant hum of neighborhood activity outside. As the afternoon light shifted, casting longer shadows across the room, Ethan gathered them for a quiet break, offering snacks and water, and they clustered together on the couch and floor, sharing stories, questions, and gentle teasing, the intimacy of shared experiences knitting them closer, forming the bonds that would sustain them in the days to come. Each girl displayed a unique strength, a spark of personality emerging from the cocoon of previous caution and restraint, and Ethan encouraged these expressions, reinforcing the value of individuality within the collective support of their small, growing family. The sun dipped lower, bathing the room in a warm amber glow, highlighting the subtle smiles, the exchanged glances, the quiet laughter, and the sense of security that had begun to root itself firmly within these walls. Ethan moved among them with measured steps, offering guidance, validation, and gentle correction, his presence a steady anchor in the evolving world of these children, shaping an environment where kindness, patience, and attentiveness provided both structure and freedom, a foundation from which they could begin to flourish. In this balance of activity, reflection, and connection, the children experienced the first true moments of belonging, of being seen and valued for who they were, and the day closed with a sense of quiet accomplishment, a gentle promise that each new dawn would bring further growth, deeper trust, and the unfolding of potential that had long been overlooked. As the evening settled over the Harper household, the golden hues of the sunset streamed through the tall windows, casting a warm, amber glow across the rooms where the 6 girls, Aaliyah, Brianna, Chloe, Destiny, Mia, and Zoe, were now gathered around the living room. The soft rustle of pages turning mingled with quiet laughter as they explored a collection of storybooks Ethan had set out, each book chosen to spark imagination, empathy, and curiosity. The sunlight highlighted the intricate patterns of the carpet, the carefully arranged cushions, and the small, hand-painted figurines that decorated the shelves, each item reflecting the attention and care Ethan had invested to make this space feel both safe and inspiring. Ethan remained seated in his favorite armchair, observing quietly as the girls shared passages they had read aloud, their voices growing more confident with each sentence, a symphony of budding self-assurance that filled the room with warmth. Chloe read a short story about a brave young girl who helped animals in need, and as she spoke, Aaliyah leaned closer, whispering comments and interpretations that drew smiles and nods from the others. Mia and Zoe took turns illustrating scenes from the stories on paper, their pencils gliding over the smooth surfaces, creating vivid depictions that captured the imagination and hearts of everyone present. Destiny, sitting cross-legged on the rug, recited her favorite poem softly, the rhythm and cadence echoing gently against the walls, and Ethan nodded in encouragement, his eyes reflecting pride and quiet admiration for the progress and courage the girls displayed. The golden light began to fade gradually, giving way to the soft, dusky blues and purples of twilight, and the room took on a calm, reflective atmosphere. Ethan rose and moved among the girls, adjusting cushions, offering gentle guidance, and ensuring that everyone was comfortable, his presence steady and reassuring. He suggested a quiet activity to close the day, a reflection exercise where each girl would share a thought or feeling about the day, and one by one, they spoke softly, revealing hopes, small victories, and tentative plans for the days ahead. The trust that had begun to form between them was palpable, woven into each word, glance, and gesture, creating a bond that was quiet yet strong, a foundation for the sense of family and stability that had begun to take root. Outside, the final rays of the sun glinted off the rain-dampened grass, and the faint scent of evening air drifted through the open window, carrying with it the promise of a new beginning. Ethan guided the girls to the kitchen, where a simple snack and warm drinks awaited, and as they sat together sharing food and conversation, the room filled with an ease and contentment that contrasted sharply with the uncertainty and fear of the orphanage they had left behind. The laughter, gentle teasing, and animated discussion about stories and drawings created a gentle rhythm, a pattern of connection and comfort that the girls were learning to recognize and embrace. As the twilight deepened, Ethan encouraged them to gather their work and belongings for the night, offering soft words of affirmation, careful guidance on organization, and the assurance that tomorrow would bring new opportunities, challenges, and moments of joy. One by one, they prepared for bed, arranging blankets and pillows with careful attention, the warmth of the room and the security of the surroundings lending a sense of peace to the end of the day. Ethan checked each bed, offering a reassuring smile and gentle words, and as he turned to leave the room, the girls settled under their covers, their faces reflecting a mixture of exhaustion, contentment, and the first true sense of belonging they had ever experienced. The house grew quiet, save for the soft ticking of a clock, the distant hum of the heating system, and the subtle murmur of wine through the trees outside, a tranquil backdrop to the calm that had descended upon the Harper home. In this quiet moment, the girls closed their eyes, comforted by the knowledge that they were safe, seen, and valued, and that each day with Ethan Harper would bring more moments of learning, laughter, and the slow, steady growth of trust, hope, and the beginnings of a family bound by care, consistency, and unwavering kindness. 20 years passed with a quiet resilience woven into the fabric of the Harper household, each day layering experiences, lessons, and shared memories that shaped the lives of Aaliyah, Brianna, Chloe, Destiny, Mia, and Zoe in ways neither they nor Ethan Harper could have anticipated. The small suburban home had transformed over time, filled with photographs capturing birthdays, school achievements, performances, and moments of pure laughter, each image a testament to growth, love, and the careful nurturing of trust and opportunity. Ethan watched from the kitchen window as the girls, now young women, moved through the yard with confidence and ease, the sunlight highlighting the distinct personalities that had emerged over the years. Aaliyah's leadership and composure, Brianna's thoughtful creativity, Chloe's enthusiasm and expressiveness, Destiny's quiet determination, Mia's gentle empathy, and Zoe's reflective intelligence. The years of consistent guidance, encouragement, and unwavering support had allowed them to flourish academically, socially, and emotionally, their accomplishments quietly accumulating into a tapestry of success and gratitude. On this particular morning, Ethan received a call inviting him to the school where the girls had once attended a local program, an event organized to honor mentors who had profoundly impacted their lives. As he arrived, the familiar streets evoked memories of their first hesitant steps out of the orphanage. The trepidation and curiosity mingled with uncertainty that had defined those early days. The school auditorium was filled with students, parents, and faculty, the air buzzing with anticipation, and when Ethan walked through the doors, he was guided to the front where a group of 6 young women stood, each radiating confidence, accomplishment, and a palpable warmth. Aaliyah stepped forward first, holding a small bouquet of flowers, her eyes shining with emotion as she began to speak about the journey they had shared, the lessons learned, and the unwavering care that had made all the difference. Brianna followed, recounting specific memories of encouragement, the times Ethan had patiently guided them through challenges, and the subtle, quiet acts of kindness that had affirmed their worth. Chloe, Destiny, Mia, and Zoe each shared reflections that intertwined gratitude with personal growth, describing how their experiences in the Harper home had empowered them to pursue education, careers, and aspirations with a confidence that had been unimaginable in their previous circumstances. The audience listened, captivated by the sincerity, the depth of feeling, and the remarkable transformation of 6 lives shaped by patience, compassion, and opportunity. Ethan felt a profound mixture of humility, pride, and quiet astonishment as he realized the cumulative impact of his choices, the ripple effects of consistent, thoughtful care extending far beyond the confines of the home, touching not only the lives of the girls, but also inspiring those who witnessed their stories. The 6 women presented him with a carefully prepared album, each page filled with photographs, letters, and notes chronicling the journey from uncertainty to achievement, a tangible testament to resilience, gratitude, and the enduring power of mentorship. As Ethan turned the pages, the memories of first steps into the house, quiet evenings of learning and laughter, and the small victories that had built self-confidence flooded his mind, each image a vivid reminder of the patience and perseverance required to nurture growth and trust. The young women embraced Ethan, a circle of warmth and affection, and in that moment, the full measure of time, effort, and dedication became visible, a clear reflection of how consistent kindness, support, and opportunity can reshape the trajectory of lives. Outside, the sunlight danced across the lawn, illuminating the faces of those gathered in admiration, a gentle breeze carrying the scent of spring flowers and the subtle hum of celebration. Ethan Harper, standing among the 6 remarkable women whose lives he had helped shape, understood the profound truth that had been revealed through years of small, steady acts of care. That genuine compassion, when combined with patience and steadfast commitment, not only nurtures growth and achievement, but also inspires gratitude, empowerment, and the unfolding of potential in ways that exceed expectation, creating a legacy far greater than any individual moment or effort could convey. The evening sun bathed the Harper residence in a warm, amber glow, and the 6 women, Aaliyah, Brianna, Chloe, Destiny, Mia, and Zoe, now fully grown, gathered around a long, polished dining table, the room filled with laughter, stories, and memories that spanned 2 decades. Each woman shared reflections on their journey, recounting moments of fear, uncertainty, triumph, and discovery, their voices carrying a mixture of reverence and joy, the cadence of gratitude intertwined with the warmth of shared experience. Aaliyah spoke first, describing how Ethan Harper's unwavering patience and steady guidance had provided a foundation for their confidence, allowing them to pursue education, careers, and personal aspirations with clarity and purpose. Brianna added her own perspective, emphasizing the quiet ways in which Ethan had celebrated their smallest achievements, the simple gestures that had affirmed their worth, and the encouragement that had instilled resilience and determination. Chloe and Destiny recalled evenings spent reading, drawing, and learning together, the consistency of structure and care that had nurtured a sense of safety and belonging, each memory painted with vivid detail and emotion. Mia and Zoe shared insights into the emotional growth they had experienced, how the lessons of empathy, reflection, and responsibility had become integrated into their daily lives, influencing choices, relationships, and ambitions in profound ways. Ethan, seated at the head of the table, listened attentively, his eyes glistening with quiet pride and humility, absorbing each story, each acknowledgement, each expression of gratitude, feeling the full impact of years of care and dedication reflected back through the voices of those he had nurtured. The room was rich with a sense of accomplishment, not merely in tangible successes, but in the cultivation of character, integrity, and the understanding that kindness, patience, and consistency could create transformative outcomes. The sunlight shifted gently through the tall windows, highlighting the expressions of trust, admiration, and love shared among the women. The shadows dancing across the table, the subtle hum of evening settling over the space. As they spoke, Ethan noted the unique paths each had taken, the individuality preserved alongside a shared bond of shared history, mutual respect, and enduring connection, each story a testament to the profound ripple effects of one person's consistent and compassionate intervention. The conversation flowed naturally, moments of laughter punctuated by reflective pauses, the air filled with warmth, connection, and an almost tangible sense of continuity, linking past experiences with present achievements and future possibilities. Outside, the gentle breeze rustled the leaves, the soft twilight settling across the yard, a quiet backdrop to the richness within, the echo of years of growth, learning, and shared experiences resonating through the space. Ethan rose and moved among the women, offering gestures of encouragement, listening attentively, and responding with thoughtful reflections, reinforcing the sense of mutual respect, acknowledgement, and the deep emotional bonds that had developed over the years. The women exchanged glances, smiles, and subtle nods, the recognition of shared history, collective triumphs, and individual growth interwoven seamlessly into the conversation, each acknowledgement adding depth and texture to the narrative of their lives together. As the sun finally dipped below the horizon, casting long, soft shadows across the dining room, a quiet sense of fulfillment settled over the gathering, a recognition that the journey they had undertaken, from uncertainty and fear to achievement and connection, had been shaped by compassion, guidance, and the steadfast belief in the potential of each individual, culminating in a shared understanding that kindness, patience, and integrity could transform lives in ways that echoed far beyond the immediate moment, leaving a lasting legacy of trust, empowerment, and enduring gratitude. As the night settled over the Harper home, the warm glow of interior lights reflected softly against the polished surfaces, casting gentle shadows across the walls lined with photographs, mementos, and the artwork of Aaliyah, Brianna, Chloe, Destiny, Mia, and Zoe. The house, once a quiet refuge, now carried the weight and warmth of a lifetime of shared experiences, its atmosphere filled with the quiet hum of settled routines and the residual energy of the day's laughter and conversations. Each woman moved through the rooms with a calm assurance, their footsteps light on the hardwood floors as they placed books back on shelves, arranged cushions, and tidied small corners. Gestures that spoke to the sense of responsibility and care instilled over years of nurturing guidance. Ethan Harper observed from the doorway, his expression one of serene reflection, noting how each had grown into confident, self-assured adults, the subtle grace in their movements and the ease with which they navigated the space reflecting both individual character and the collective bond they shared. Outside, the evening air was crisp, carrying the scent of blooming flowers and freshly cut grass, a reminder of the world beyond the walls that had become their sanctuary, and as a soft breeze stirred the leaves, it seemed to echo the passage of time and the quiet persistence of hope that had guided them from uncertainty to accomplishment. In the kitchen, the faint aroma of herbal tea and baked goods lingered, a testament to the continuity of care, comfort, and routine that had been established and maintained over decades. The women gathered briefly around the table, sharing stories from their respective days, laughter rising and fading gently, punctuated by reflective pauses, the rhythm of conversation weaving a tapestry of connection, mutual respect, and enduring affection. Ethan moved among them with quiet attentiveness, listening, nodding, and offering gentle guidance or observations, his presence both grounding and affirming, reinforcing the understanding that the home was a place of stability, trust, and unconditional support. The rooms, illuminated by soft lamps and the faint reflection of moonlight through tall windows, seemed to breathe with the calm of a family bound not only by circumstance but by choice, love, and shared history. Each detail, the placement of furniture, the framed photographs, the subtle warmth of textiles, speaking to the care and attention that had shaped the environment over the years. As the evening deepened into night, the women began their quiet preparations for rest, each attending to small tasks, arranging personal belongings, and reflecting on the day. The comfort of familiarity and the gentle security of their surroundings providing a soft cadence that encouraged introspection and contentment. Ethan lingered near the doorway, observing the final motions, the soft exchanges of smiles, whispers, and laughter, recognizing in these simple interactions the profound growth, resilience, and unity that had developed over the decades. The house, once a space of tentative hope, now radiated a quiet strength and serenity. Each corner, each shadow, and each lighted room a testament to the cumulative effect of care, patience, and unwavering support. As the night drew to a close, the women settled into their respective rooms, the soft rustle of blankets, the faint creak of floorboards, and the occasional whispered good night forming a lullaby of continuity and calm, a rhythm that encapsulated years of shared growth, enduring trust, and the profound realization that lives shaped by kindness and consistent care could flourish in ways that were lasting, transformative, and deeply resonant. Ethan stood briefly in the hall, his gaze moving from door to door, a gentle satisfaction settling in his chest, aware that the legacy of those years, the connections forged, and the lives nurtured would endure far beyond the immediate moment, leaving an indelible imprint of love, guidance, and human resilience that would ripple through generations. Outside, the night air shimmered with stars reflected in puddles from an earlier rain, a quiet universe witnessing the serenity and enduring bonds within, the gentle hum of distant life underscoring the stillness and the lasting peace that had been achieved within the Harper household, the culmination of patience, kindness, and steadfast devotion.